Welcome to another Road where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host Jacob, and to begin, we talk about the Eagles beating the Seahawks, or the Seahawks beating the Eagles. Excuse me, on Monday Night Football. In this game, that Drew Lock was the starting quarterback. They didn't know if Geno Smith was going to go to about an hour before, and then Drew Lock was given the nod. Here we go. And to be fair, Seahawks started slow. A lot of underneath stuff, ran the ball decently well in the first half. Jalen Hurts did play in this game. He actually traveled separately from the team. And on his first drive, he ends up scoring a rushing touchdown. And then, Seattle kept themselves in it, kicking a field goal. They go into half. It's 10-3. And you're like, okay, here we go. Seattle's in a good spot. They get the ball to start the second half. And they go right down the field. They get a touchdown run from Kenneth Walker, in which actually Drew Lock threw a block to help Walker score a touchdown. Then Eagles go right down the field, score a touchdown. Seahawks kick a field goal later in the game. And the Eagles have the ball with like 4 minutes left on the clock. They just have to bleed the game out. And they couldn't do it. Couldn't do it on a third down play. You could tell the Eagles are just trying to get to the 2-minute warning. So if they do have to kick it to the Seahawks, they don't have the time. But Hurts throws it away with I think it was 2:04 left in the game. So it wasn't really going to matter much. They were going to just punt it back. And as soon as they fair catch, the 2-minute warning hits. But it's a great punt. And then you make the Seahawks travel 92 yards without really running the ball. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett were not big factors in this game. But on that final drive, the Seahawks targeted James Bradberry. Darius Slay had arthroscopic surgery this past week, so he's going to be out for a little bit. So Bradberry is their best corner, second best corner. He's on Metcalf, and he got beat that whole drive, gave up every catch on that drive. It was a circus catch that Metcalf made where the ball ended up on his hip. It was a great play by him. And like a 3rd and 10, they throw a 30-yard bomb to Metcalf, which he comes down with as he beats Bradberry. And on the touchdown, Jackson Smith-Njigba, the rookie, against the veteran Bradberry, just beats him on the release, gets behind him, Locke throws a good ball. It's touchdown. And then the Eagles made a very weird decision, or maybe it was Hurts who made the weird decision. He chucked it deep and ends up getting intercepted by Julian Love, who had 2 picks on the night. It was just insane. But I want to talk about, first of all, great win by the Seahawks, because it keeps you in the fight for the playoff race to get the 6 or 7 seed. You need those. So you needed this. And to win with Drew Lock was impressive. There's a lot of concerns, especially the Seattle defense played very well, the 28th ranked defense. And the concern I had was for the Eagles, it's like there's 2 concerns. There's their defensive concern, but there's their offensive concern. So let's start with the offense. I think the Eagles have really bad habits. Years ago, I used to say this about the Chiefs, and if you've been around a long time, you know this. I used to say about the Chiefs, it's like they get bored. They get bored playing the horizontal game where they have to play the entire field and they're not taking deep shots because they can't. It's like they get bored, so they just start throwing them. And if one hits, they're in good shape. And if they don't, and it gets intercepted, and now all of a sudden you get a team back in the game, or expand their lead, or they take the lead, like that's a problem. And that's what I feel like the Eagles did. They had to play, it was a third down, it was like 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 8, something like that. They chucked the ball to A.J. Brown, who doesn't come down with it. The ball's overthrown. It throws it out of bounds. There's just not enough space. But if you look, Devontae Smith is running an underneath route, and he's wide open. He's going to pick up the first down. But they took a deep shot. There was no reason to take the deep shot there. On the first pick by Julian Love, they throw a deep route, and what ends up happening is they throw it to Quez Watkins, who's their like 4th best receiver. They threw it to him. And now, yes, I understand there was a tug by Julian Love, but at the same time, it's your 4th receiver. If Julian Love does not even intercept it, he just knocks it away. It's a 4th down anyway. But there was no reason to, or it's going, it made no sense for him to throw it up there. On this play, on the second interception, it was a great play by Julian Love. He had great range on the play. But there was no reason to do that. There was no reason. You had 2 timeouts. You could still take a field. You only need a field goal. Why take a deep shot? It just never made sense to me. Yes, I understand it's A.J. Brown, but why take a deep shot? And Julian Love, he makes a great play on the ball. He gets his 2 feet down, as the rest indicated that he did. And that was the game. Now, I understand Jalen Hurts was not feeling well. I get that. But that's not an excuse either. To me, there's been a lot of players that have been sick in the league in recent weeks. That's not an excuse. If you can't play, then don't play. We didn't know he was going to be active until like an hour or two before, 2 or 3 hours. It was like 1 or 3 hours before before the game started. We had no idea if he was going to play. He was active, and I was a little shocked by that. But just a lot of mistakes. And again, like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and this offense is struggling. So I think there's bad habits. I think they should run the ball more than they do. They have a great offensive line, run the ball a little more. And on defense, we understand the secondary is a problem. They can't get off the field on 3rd down. You cannot tell me a team that is terrible on 3rd downs on defense is going to consistently go against the Seahawks team, who is not a good 3rd down team anyway. Like, they're not. They are really bad and with a backup quarterback, and yet you still couldn't beat them. The entire game prior to the final drive, I think Drew Lock had 116 yards. That was it. So you did a good enough job throughout the game. And then 92 yards later, they're in the end zone, where he was 5 of 10 on the final drive. You couldn't stop him at all. That's a problem. That is a problem. It's not getting better. And they made the change to Matt Patricia. That we found out on Sunday. But they made the change. I'm like, at the same time, I keep saying this to myself. I'm like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Why would they make the change and still doesn't work? You can't make a change in a week and expect a whole different result. You just can't. And the people keep trying to say, well, it's coaching. No, it's not just coaching. It's everything. You